Hi gang, welcome to 276 Online. I made this video for you so that you can take a look at how to make a Weebly. The game plan for tonight's class was to go over the components of the Weebly and the expectations for the Weebly, and then allow you some time to work on it. So I've created this video that will hopefully give you some information on how to start working on your Weebly, which will be your digital portfolio for your 276 class, and it will serve as your final. So the first thing you need to do is to open up your browser. I'm choosing to use Firefox, and you're going to go to Weebly.com. And once there, you're going to log in or sign up for an account if you've never used Weebly. Now, with Weebly, there are different pricing options, and we are only going to use the free option. My internet is deciding to be a little slow. So while that is loading, I wanted to remind you that your digital field trip is due next week. And we will be presenting those in class. And I know that you guys will rock it. Okay, so Weebly's ready to go. So I already have an account, but if you didn't have an account, you would see a home screen with the option of login or sign up for free. Mine clearly was already saved. And once you do that, actually, hold on a second. Let's open up a new Weebly, and I will log out and help you log in. Sorry, I'm kind of winging it here because I wasn't planning to do this and via a video, but we can make it happen. So what you're going to do is, if you go to Weebly.com, it will load like this, and you're going to want to log in or sign up. So I'm going to log myself in. Hope I remember my password. Wrong username and password. Awesome. If you're like me, I have like 4 go-to passwords that I rotate around. And once you get to the dashboard, you're going to be able to add a website. And you can click on your site or add a website. And we are going to add a site. Now it's going to ask you a series of questions to help you make sure that you set it up. I am going to pick personal because I'm using it for a job, or portfolio, which is more like photographers and such like that, not necessarily a digital portfolio like we would be using. You can pick either. You're going to name it if you would like to name it. I would name it digital portfolio. You could name it and keep continuing. And then it's going to give you a bunch of different themes. So you're going to pick a theme that fits your style. And with this, there is no right or wrong version to pick. You can look from a variety of themes. You can pick from more themes. It depends on what your personal style is. So I'm going to go with this. It's going to give me a preview, and then it's going to let me start editing. It's going to prompt me to name my website. Now, there's going to be 3 different options, and we are going to stick with the free option, which will be a Weebly domain name. And so you're going to stay a subdomain of Weebly, and most people should name it their first and last name, or Miss Davenport's Weebly, or Digital Portfolio, or Miss Davenport. So play around with what you think. Just remember to keep it professional, because you'll hopefully be using this down the road when you're interviewing for jobs. I'm just going to name mine 276 sample. Oh, must be I've already used it, so we'll add sample 2. There we go. And then it brings me to this page. Now, this is going to be the home page. But before we even start building, I want us to take a look over here. Now, there are different pages. We have a blog, which we are not going to be using a blog at all. So I'm going to delete that page because I'm not going to ask you to include a blog. But what you will find is on your Encore site for today, there was a Fall 276 Weebly Directions page, and that's going to give you information about the different components that you're going to need. And each of these bold capitalized titles are the different pages you will want to do. So we are going to go through. And hope that this doesn't happen to you. We're going to go to pages. We are going to look at the different ones that we need. So if you look over here, I have the first one is home. So I'm going to title that home. Once I've done that, I go back. It's going to automatically update it. And next is about. Again, it will auto update. Now this theme didn't give me any other additional pages, but I can simply add another standard page and do parent and family connections. I can add another page. Again, another standard page. I'm going to do sample lessons. And then teaching with technology. And then digital field trips. Again, a standard page. Oops, I started typing too soon. And last but not least, your contact info. Now, some pages or some themes might not let you have this many pages. If you get to the point where it doesn't still give you a plus sign at the top, ooh, come on, learn to spell. It's been a long day. Whew. If this plus sign disappears, that means you cannot add any more pages with this particular theme. If that is the case, you should be okay because it does say the free plan lets you have up to 10 pages, but some of the themes don't allow for it unless you use different formats like blogs and such, which we will not be doing. So if you need to, feel free. You can combine the about and the contact info, and you should still be okay. Now let's look here. We have this set up. Now how do we add to it? Now, one thing that is also on this page that's a great resource is a link to a Weebly that I made that literally walks you through each component of the digital portfolio and what should be on it. So if you look at the home, it tells you to include information such as this website was designed as a digital portfolio. And I did a button to a blog, and if you don't have a classroom blog, you can put it there as a placeholder or not include it. It includes a classroom-based photo. Now, I know that you all don't have your own classroom, so feel free to find something on Google that fits your need, and then as you get experience in your classrooms and your placements, take pictures that you can then replace with it. Think about taking pictures of your classroom environment, the students working, etc. In the About section, it's thinking. In the About section, you're going to have an overview of who you are, what your major is, what your certifications will be, and a sample resume. You're also going to include a current picture. Now, if you look here, I included pictures from when I was little and not anything current, but you're going to want a current picture so that when people are looking at it, they can put a face to the name and remind them of who you were when you interviewed with them. And then you have more. On this particular setup, there's a drop-down menu, and it walks you through, and it tells you on each part of your portfolio what should be in there. Sample lessons would be the title, and then some text that says, in this section, you'll provide a brief overview of the lesson and provide the literacy lesson document. So there's the file. I'm going to show you step by step how to set up this exact page, so you will be set. Remember, I did include an image because you want it to be visually appealing. Teaching with technology. This is where you will include your Kahoots. And it gives you an idea. Oh, I forgot to edit this part. I will have to make sure to do that for you. But it should be an overview of your Kahoot and a hyperlink to your Kahoots. I'd use buttons again. You can use images if you'd rather, and create a link off of the images. And then I included text that described it and how each Kahoot was differentiated. That's a key because differentiation is so important in schools right now. It's a major part of our interview, so it'll be a great thing to include. You'll also have your digital field trip. Now, your digital field trip will be too big to upload, so you're going to want to provide a description of your digital field trip and either a link to your digital field trip or an image that provides a link. Now, if you're going to use a link to your digital field trip from your Google Drive, you'll get that shareable link. And instead of posting the entire long link down here, that's where you'd use either a button or an image as a placeholder so it looks a little bit more visually appealing. Contact info. Make sure you contact me, phone, email, Twitter, Instagram, blog. If you don't have all of those components, go ahead and make sure you can make it up as a placeholder, but then down the road, make sure you edit it before you go to use this. And then parent-family connections. This is where you would include newsletters or different ways that you're going to communicate with parents. Now, you might have made one for EdPsych, and if you have already, that's fantastic. You can feel free to include that here. If you haven't made one, this is where or even if you have, this is where you describe some of the social media and the different ways that we talked about communicating with parents and how you might use that for your classroom. Again, an image. And then that's the basics. Now, how do we get from here to here? Some of it's the theme, some of it's building your pages. So here I'm going to click on home, and that's going to bring me home, and it's going to bring me to the home page, and that's where I click on build, and it's going to let me drag and drop things into place. Now, this is a pretty open book. I would love to put an image. So I'm going to drag a spot for an image there. You can upload an image, or you can search from one from your computer, or you can search for images that are here. I will tell you that it's a much smoother process if you just simply download the image to your desktop, drag and drop it here, and it will autofill. I don't think, let's see if I have an image on my desktop right now. I do not. So that is where you can add an image. Now, once you put that there, you're going to want the title. And then you're going to want some text to describe where it goes. Again, you can drag it all in and then add later. So, something along the lines of, welcome to my EDU 276 digital portfolio. And then you can just say that, this was created for my EDU 276 class, etc., etc. Okay? Now this autosaves, so there's no save button needed. But again, if you want to then edit a different page, you can click along your header up at the top. And we're going to go to sample lessons, because this is another big component that you want to figure out how to do. Again, you're going to want an image. Now they already have an image, and they have some titles. They have a title built in for you. So you could say sample lessons. And it's all set for you. If you want to edit the image, you can edit the background or replace the header layout. I'm going to edit the background, and I'm going to edit the image, and I want to replace it. Now they're going to have options for me to do so with, or you can again upload from your computer. If you have any favorites that you've used before, I'm going to upload from my computer real quick. Or you can select the background that they have. So this is when some of my friends went to New Orleans and visited my family. This is my cousin Jerry, who owns this swamp tour. Just a side note. So I'm going to change the image, and I'm going to select it and save it. There we go. Now, I want this to be a different color because I feel like it doesn't quite fill out the way I want it to. And I want it to be a little bit bigger. And color. I'm going to go with maybe a pink. Oh, nope. Still don't like it. So you just play around with it until you find something that you're comfortable with and that you like. and that you can read, etc. Now, the one thing about this to note is that you can't move this text up or down. It is fixed based on the layout and the format. So if you don't like the way it looks, you can change the background. Again, by replacing it. I can pick that again, or I can pick a different one. I don't think I have a different one on my, no. So I'm going to pick it again, but what I'm going to show you is that there's also other images that are stock photos. So you can do nature. Maybe I'll do the camels. So maybe you find something that might go along with the theme of your sample lesson. So maybe I did a sample lesson on the forests. Select it. Oh, now this doesn't show up at all, does it? So I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to edit this to be a nice red. Again, you're going to just play around with it until you find something you like. So you've got the header. And now again, you will need to drag elements. So I need a title so I can tell people it's sample lessons. Oop. Make sure you get that blue line so you know where you're dragging it to. Again, I'm going to write sample lessons. Then I'm going to drag a text right below it. And I'm going to say, this lesson plan utilizes technology such as and highlights a book about forests. Click on the file below to view this lesson. And then I have a couple of different options. If the lesson is in your Google Drive, you could get the shareable link and use a button. And if you were going to do that, you would drag the button over. And you can then change the text by clicking on button text. Sample lesson. And then you can change the style if you wanted to. I'm going to leave it as is. You can then change the position. I like to have them centered. And then you can add a link. That's where you just would type in a link to your, or paste your link to your shareable link to your document. And then voila, your button is set. Now, if you wanted to and you had it on your computer as a document, you could add it as a document or as a downloadable file. Again, simply by dragging it over, clicking on it, upload file. You can drag or drop, or you can click to upload, open, and it's going to pre-title it for you. If you want, you can change the title. And it'll update the title so it looks a little bit more user-friendly. Okay? Now, it auto-saves as you go, so you don't need to worry about that. If once you're done for the night, my recommendation is to hit publish, just because every time I work on it, I like to publish it, just for peace of mind that it really saved nicely. Once you do that, you're going to hit continue. And you're going to say, yes, I'm not a robot. Okay, publish my site. And then this is the link that you'll provide for your final. Easy as that. And you can check it out and see, make sure it's saved and how it looks when you're looking at it from the actual website versus the dashboard. So again, We are using Weebly, and you are using it to include the elements that we've created. If you have things you've created for other classes, you're more than welcome to add it in. People use these a lot to when they're interviewing. It's a new way of providing a portfolio because people don't have time to browse it. Make sure that you then would go on to like Vistaprint and get 500 free business cards and include the link on it so that once you're done interviewing, they can pull it up and check it out and remember who you were and what you said. So, tonight's class, like I said, we were going to go over an overview of Weebly, and then I was going to let you play and start creating and have time to work in your room. Or not in your room, in your website. So, I hope that you will watch this, find it useful, and play around with Weebly. Remember that next week we have digital field trips, presentations, no more than 10 minutes. You'll walk us through your digital field trip and highlight some of the stops along the way. If you have any questions, shoot me an email or a text. I am now home, safe and sound, after a crazy day of a lockdown with kindergartners. So I'm sure I will share more with you later. All right, have a great night, guys.